And that beats race, gender, sexuality, and climate if we have the courage to actually stand for it. And so I think that
you're not going to have the courage because that's literally the only thing your party has to run on, and tax cuts for the rich. That's it. So it's not courage. It's you guys don't have any policies to give to the American people. There's nothing more annoying than a used car salesman. You know what I'm saying? Like those who you can kind of smell coming from a mile away. Like, you know, when you're walking into a store and you see like an AT&T or like a T-Mobile booth, and you know the people with the suits, you know, and it's like, you know, they're going to approach you. You know, they're going to try to upsell you a phone that you probably don't even need. And they're going to lie in some way, shape or form about the bill. And then you're stuck paying an expensive bill. Like, we try to avoid those kind of people. But one person that comes to mind that's worse than a used car salesman, was worse than someone wasting your time with trying to, you know, shove another bill that you probably can't afford into your pockets, is Vivek Ramaswamy. Okay, Vivek. Okay, well, let's just call him Vivek, right? He's worse than that. Like, he's the kind of individual that tries to be a used car salesman, and it's like everything about him screams, I'm lying to you, but you just need to figure out what I'm lying about. Like, the way that he talks seems not authentic. His haircut, his smile, just everything about him is like, bro, like, stop talking, because I know you're lying to me. And I just need to figure out what you're lying about. With him running for president, we don't need another CEO trying to pretend to be a leader. That's not what CEOs are. CEOs are not leaders. CEOs are not political servants, public servants. That's literally the opposite. CEOs only essentially have one or two jobs, and the main one is continue to make profits for their shareholders or for themselves. They don't care about nothing else. Essentially, not all of them. I'm pretty sure there's some cool billionaires, but 9 times out of 10, that's their only job. And we don't need that as a president. We don't. That's not going to work. You can't run America like it's a business, because it's not. All right. So let's hear this guy talk about his book and why he lost to Trump, which if you lose to Trump, something is wrong. He's not fill in the blank. He's none of that. So why would you lose to Trump and then try to persuade me that you should be in that position? You couldn't even beat like the literal 80-year-old dummy. Like, no, I'm sorry. You already lost that battle. But he's on Dr. Phil, which is another like character on his own. Let's listen to what he has to say.
I tell you that I actually was not attacking anybody in the race, but I did take the philosophy of, you know what, if you're going to hit me, I'm going to hit back harder. I think I would have been much more focused on making sure that people understand why I'm in this. What are we actually running to? And I think that whether it's with respect to the left or whether it's with respect to fellow Republicans, I think one of the mistakes that, frankly, I've made, but I think we often make as conservatives too, is we know what we're against, but we have to also do a better job of articulating who we are and what we actually stand for.
Now, that makes sense. Like I said, like, he will talk to you, but then as soon as it's like, okay, you're human, right? All right, go for it. He says the most dumbest, ignorant things. It's like what he just said. He wish he would have done a better job at telling the American people who he is and why he's running and what he can provide for them. But just like his political run, he's going to express to you the exact same things that the Republican Party, some of the Democratic Party always focus on, and it's not the issues. It's not what people need to hear. And he's literally going to do that right now. So it's like you're not even listening to yourself. It sounds good, but then you revert back to the same fear-mongering, pointless, senseless conversations that won't benefit anybody's day-to-day issues. Let's listen.
I've railed against wokeness. I've railed against the transgender ideology, climate ideology.
Oh my God. Hold on. Let's run that back.
Do a better job of articulating who we are and what we actually stand for. I've railed against wokeness. I've railed against the transgender ideology.
Okay, wokeness. Once again, wokeness is not increasing my rent. Wokeness is not preventing me from getting the hourly pay that I deserve for my hard work. Wokeness is not destroying my roads and just making groceries expensive. I don't care about wokeness. What else do you got?
Stand for. I've railed against wokeness. I've railed against the transgender ideology.
The transgender ideology. You mean the people that make up less than 1% of Americans? You want to talk about that. But you don't want to talk about the 1% that's accumulating and consolidating most of the wealth here in America. But you want to talk about a already small group of people, but you want to continue to marginalize and attack these people for what? I don't get it. Please help me figure out how this ideology is not even it's an idea, it's a thought. How is that thought hurting my day-to-day life? How is that transgender ideology affecting my educational opportunities? How is that contributing to my rents continuously increasing year by year? And I can say that because I lived in this area going on 7 years now, and my rent continues to go up for God knows why. Because this area is not getting any better. So why? Is it the trans people fault? Is it their fault? Because if it is, let me know. And I will be the first one to try to do something about it. But you can't, because it doesn't make any sense.
The climate ideology, COVIDism, which I think
COVIDism, man, holy shit, man. Let's stop making these words, all right? COVIDism, I swear, if COVIDism was an item, I would want to beat you with it. All right, I'm gonna say it. Okay, I'm sorry, you two. I'm joking. All right, it was a joke. All right, but I would want to COVIDism, man. But climate change, bro. You are not a climate expert. I'm pretty sure there's a fancy word for that, but that's not you. So I am not going to listen to you about climate change that the professionals has spoken about, and they say that it is an issue. And I'm not talking about the YouTubers. I'm not talking about people who don't even have a credible license. I'm talking about real professional people that have like tenure under their belt. Not a YouTuber. I don't want to hear those people. So Vivek, why do I need to listen to you about climate change? Shouldn't I listen to the professionals? Maybe, but I don't know. I mean, he has the haircut, so I guess he knows something.
Was a religion in the country, but what do we stand for? We sometimes forget that part. And for me, the thing that guided me into the race in the first place is my core conviction. We stand for the value of the individual, the family, the nation, and God. And that beats race, gender, sexuality, and climate if we have God. We stand for the value of the individual, the family, the nation, and God.
What does that mean? The individual, family values, God. Like, what does that mean? That means nothing. You just said a bunch of words that don't mean anything without context, without getting into the details. You're just saying words that sound good. And, you know, and God, you know, like God, like, you know, despite that there's 331 million people here in America that probably we have a wide variety of gods, you know what I'm saying? So what does that mean, Vivek? You just can't say these words and not explain. But it sounds good. I got to give it to you. It sounds good, but you're not going to fool the individuals who are actually listening to you.
And that beats race, gender, sexuality, and climate if we have the courage to actually stand for it. And so I think that
you're not going to have the courage because that's literally the only thing your party has to run on, and tax cuts for the rich. That's it. So it's not courage. It's you guys don't have any policies to give to the American people. And just like Trump said, like he has a concept of a plan that we would be hearing very soon. And that was like, what, 2-3 weeks ago? So it's like, Vivek, no, stop. No, stop it. Cut it. It's not going to work.
owe it to the people we're aiming to lead to do a better job of that.
You said faith, patriotism, and hard work were core values that you thought were really important instead of what you just listed, COVIDism and all of these things. Those things seem to really resonate with American people, regardless of which side they were on.
I think that's true.
He said,
Just listed COVIDism and all of these things.
To lead to do a better job of that.
You said faith, patriotism.
faith, once again, doesn't mean nothing to millions of people here in America. There's different faith. Some people don't even believe in God. So it's like, okay, all right, got you. Patriotism. What does that look like? Because according to the Republican Party, that means trying to overthrow our government off of misinformation and lies and ego. So it's like, that's not going to work. Patriotism is based on the individual. Try again. It's not going to work.
And hard work.
And hard work. Got you. You mean those that work 2-3 jobs and barely can make it. You mean that hard work, right? Once again, you are a millionaire. I don't know if he's a billionaire, but you got money. So once again, you're missing the ears of the people you're trying to reach when you say hard work. It's like, you don't know what that is. Honestly, I'm sorry. Until you've done my work history, construction, concrete, asbestos removal, do those kind of jobs for 10 years. And then tell me what hard work looks like. I'm sorry. Hey, you lost me on that one.
Were core values that you thought were really important instead of what you just listed, COVIDism and all of these things.
Yeah.
Those things seem to really resonate with American people, regardless of which side they were on.
I think that's true. We have this myth of national division, and I call it a myth intentionally because at the time I started the race, I believed that we were really divided as well. It's what you get if you're fed by the media or your social media algorithms. Speaking of those algorithms, they don't just prey on children, they prey on all of our most base instincts to click on something more quickly than the next thing. And I think what I realized being in rooms like this where there's no TV screens or social media algorithms in the air between us is that actually 80% of this country shares the same value set in common. But all we have to do is overcome that culture of fear that I talked about earlier. And so one of the things I try to do in this book.
Oh my God, the culture of fear is literally what the Republican Party thrives on. And some of the Democratic Party, not as, robust as the Republican Party, but that's your party. So like what are you trying to say? Like I said, it feels like you're lying to me, and it's like, why are you lying to me? Why? Like what are you trying to get out of my pockets this time?
Really to highlight Once you overcome that culture of fear, you may disagree with your neighbor, but you can be closer to him. The way you speak with respect is not just telling somebody what they want to hear or some woke-washed version of what you think they want to hear, but respect them enough to tell them what you actually believe. And I think the more we do that, the more we're going to rebuild trust in this country. And I think open dialogue is the only way we're going to get there. And I feel like we have a special responsibility to set the best example we can for the next generation who's missing that national pride.
Well,
All right, man, I don't want to hear about this dude's book. I honestly, I essentially will probably read it because I'm going to have a month dedicated to reading people I disagree with. And Vivek is, he's coming out with a book, so I might as well put him on the list. I'm going to torture myself. I need to make sure I'm not just stuck in the echo chamber. I need to make sure I know what people, what their perspectives are and be able to challenge it. And if I can't, do I need to broaden my opinions and perspectives? So, but unfortunately, Vivek is just another con man. For whatever reason, we are not electing public servants to be in these positions of power where their main job should be public service. But the people we're electing don't have any public service history. So it's like, I don't care how much money you done made. I don't care what businesses you done started. I don't care what your net growth is. I don't care. I want to know what you've done for your community. I want to and not, I created, hundreds of jobs. No, I'm talking about the person who doesn't work for you, who makes you a profit. I don't want to hear that. I want to know what you've done for the person that can't benefit you in the long run. What have you done for that person that can't do anything for you? That's public servitude. But for whatever reason, we're allowing politics to be glamorized, like it's the cool thing to do. And it shouldn't be. It should be something boring, something that only nerds and just old people watch and listen to. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, that's not what the case is. And we as the voters need to make sure we're raising that bar. And we only can do that if all American people who knows what we want, and it's the basic things: healthcare, economic opportunity, higher quality jobs, and healthcare and the whole nine. We need to make sure that these politicians are delivering that, not trans people, not climate conversations that they don't even belong in. Not about creating woke words and COVIDism. I swear, if I hear that word one more again, I'ma lose it. I'ma go in my bed and I'ma start crying to my wife. Right? If I hear one more person say COVIDism, I'ma lose it. All right. So we need to do better, because people like Vivek, hey, people like this guy right here, that's our fault. We brought this on ourselves because we made this a platform like American Idol. Hey, anyone can try to sing, and they know damn well they do not belong on that stage. This is our fault because we made it popular. So once again, if you think I'm wrong, if you're a huge Vivek fan and you think he is the closest thing to Jesus Christ, even though Republican people wouldn't vote for him because he's Indian and he's not a Christian. So it's who knows, So if you think I'm wrong, like always, let me know in the comments down below and let's have that conversation.